everyone, and welcome to Roll and Keep Fan on Tabletop's weekly show that's all about playing, teaching, designing, and learning about settings primed with the Cortex role-playing system. My name is Millie Doucette, and I'm the community manager for Cortex and the Dekathlon's GM of ceremonies. If this is your first time with us, thank you so much for joining. We are very glad to have you here. You might be wondering what a Cortex Prime even is. So allow me to elucidate. It is a toolbox that you can use to play or create any genre or setting of TTRPG that you could possibly want. As an example, today we're going to be playing one of the ready-made settings that you can find in our core handbook, Eidolon Alpha, which is a Hellenic mythology fantasy setting. Oh my gosh, I said the word right. You can learn more at cortexrpg.com, or if you're lucky, you might win a copy here today. We're going to give away copies throughout the show whenever one of these incredible heroes gets something called a heroic success. What is that? Don't worry about it. You will find out when it happens, if it happens. But enough of that. Who are these amazing heroes in the boxes here below me? These are the players for Eidolon Alpha. We have Cortex Prime designer and creative director Cam Banks, writer, streamer, and game designer DeAngelo Murillo, community relations coordinator, game designer, and streamer Latia Jaquise, and RPG performer and variety streamer Sam DeLev. Thank you all so much for joining me once again. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I think that is all of us. So let's go right ahead and really quickly, let's jump into episode 2 of Eidolon Alpha Dekathlon. Previously, we arrived in the Phoenix city-state of Regnium for the first ever Dekathlon, an event meant to bring together the 10 city-states in a brief respite of peace. There, we met our 4 endarchs, the Siren Pirate Liege, Crissa, the second draft pick for the Chimeras, Churro, the new Phoenix inductee, Fios, and the scholarly Minoa of the Minotaur. While Minoa and Chris discovered a strange wall in an off-limits area of the Phoenix Temple, Churro and Fios appeared to make an enemy in the form of Kofaya, a snide endarch of the Hydra. Any results of that could happen from that were delayed by the opening ceremonies for the games, but while our 4-player characters attended those opening ceremonies, mysterious happenings were afoot all around them. A clandestine meeting between Fios' sister, a priestess of the Phoenix, and one of Chris's associates, a Hydra cultist. And then a space Hydra cultist also was poisoning a water skin unseen. You can tell I didn't put any line breaks in my notes, and a strange inky blackness leaking out of the wall and into the Phoenix complex. But all of those things are currently unknown to these 4, and 3 trying to sleep amid the adrenaline and excitement of the athletes' chambers, and the streets outside alive with jovial, festive energy and also tensions and brawls and fighting. But we enter the temple itself and come upon the room of a special guest, the Minotaur invitee, Minoa.
That's me.
Latia, that's you. Latia, though your caretaker, Demetra, is snoring away in her bed, you are not asleep. Why is that?
Well, I don't think I'm too excited to sleep, I think. Assuming that everybody else sleeps the same sort of hours as we do over on where I live. I can't remember right now. I think it's prime time for some mischief.
Yeah, and that's the feeling that you have as you lay awake and you wonder, what's the guard coverage like at this time of night? How about that mysterious person that you met in that hallway? And what about that mysterious wall? So thinking all of these things, not able to sleep, hearing Demetra snoring away. She is a very deep sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Well, I'm gonna put on my sneaking shoes, which are just the same as my normal shoes. And I'm gonna leave.
Excellent. You sneak out of the room, easily not disturbing Demetra, but kind of poking your head out. Do you see any guards near your room?
I don't think so. I'm just a bookworm. They don't think they need to. They don't think they need to guard a bookworm.
Yeah, excellent. So you are very easily able to just sort of slip out and begin to make your way back towards those athlete chambers where you know that through there, kind of past the washing area, is that hallway that led you and that other endarch over to that strange wall. There are also, of course, other pathways yet unexplored, but just as they were in the daytime, as you very cautiously make your way, you get the sense through your Minotaur senses of there being nighttime guards set
Hmm.
at each of those locations still.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I'm just gonna make my way back to that wall under the pretense of, you know, local visiting girl looking for a glass of water. If should anybody come across me as I'm wandering, and I'm just gonna, poke at the wall some more because why not?
Yeah, for sure. So you're making your way towards the athletes' chambers and then potentially through it. Let's go ahead and see the other three here. They are all one of the champions of their endarchs. You are all in that athletes' chambers in this evening time setting. Sam, what is Carissa doing in at nighttime? There's definitely, it's not like everybody's gone to sleep. Some of the more serious athletes have taken some kind of sleeping nectar to just knock themselves out, but there's a lot of people that are still pretty jazzed up or a little bit anxious, so it isn't dead quiet in here.
I did sleep for a little bit after the ceremonies. One takes a nap and then one can be more awake later at the interesting hours. At the moment, I'm leaned up in the doorway at the entrance to the athletes' quarters, chatting up the guard.
Excellent. Yeah, so the guard is there, and you can tell that they're feeling a little bit, out of sorts. They're a little anxious. Um, they keep on looking kind of at the room, at the other doorway, through the athletes' chambers, where that there was a guard who took a nap just for a little bit the other day. Maybe they're thinking about that. Maybe they're thinking about something else. But they're not a bad conversationalist. They are very much just focused on other things at the same time. Are you trying to get anything from this guard, or just chatting casually?
It started chatting casually just to have something to do. Some people will whittle wood, some people will recreationally flirt. And at some point, again, purely for the sport of it, it did become intelligence gathering. Are any of your buddies also on the clock tonight? Oh, are a lot of your friends on the daytime? Start inferring the head count, that sort of thing.
Excellent. What gender is this guard?
Oh, goodness, I really didn't think to ask.
Excellent. So you're not quite sure. They don't present themselves in a particularly defined way in any direction. They can
Defined in
dress
the ways
anyway.
they need to be.
Yeah. So they're just sort of they're getting more relaxed the more that you talk to them. Realizing that this has been a very casual conversation. You're a very attractive person. So they're kind of like, oh, maybe this is actually a better opportunity than we thought. And hey, Siren and Phoenix are allies, so this is totally fine. So just very much relaxing into this conversation. And well, I mean, there's a number. I mean, a little bit less than daytime, but we didn't go light. I mean, yeah, we've got you and Hydra and all, but these other folks, got to be careful, especially those little wyvern ones.
Oh, yeah? Are they really more dangerous? Should I be offended?
Well, I'm sure that you'd be pretty dangerous to the right person, but it's more just the tricks that they play. We gotta be careful around them.
Have you been hearing anything?
Well, I heard some, complaints earlier. Let's as he sort of gets a little bit cagey, he's a little bit worried about saying something he shouldn't, or they shouldn't, or she shouldn't. Apologies, we don't know their gender. Let's do a roll here and see if you can make them feel comfortable enough to divulge stuff that seems maybe a little bit less open. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna just make this a standard difficulty, 2d8s, and they have they are a guard of the Phoenix, but because the sirens are an ally of the Phoenix, I'm not going to add that die in. I don't think that's working against you here, because you are one of those allies. So I will roll a set of difficulty for you for a test. Wow.
All right.
All right. So here's what happened. When I roll, or anyone rolls, only ones, that is called a botch. And a botch is just, this is an outright failure. You're going to still have to roll, because if you also roll the botch, that could be a thing. So go ahead.
Happen.
It could conceivably happen. Not likely, but we will see. Additionally, I should mention, any of you who had plot points last time, if you had 2, if you had 3, you keep those. And Cam, correct me if I'm wrong, do we add another one on top of that? Or is...
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. So yes, if you had 1 already, you have 2 right now. If you had 2, you have 3. You can use 1 if you would like. You can
if you
buy.
Go to the book and check and see if and I'm wrong, it doesn't matter, because
Exactly. When you're playing the game, I mean, last week I will share, I did make some mistakes in the rules. That's just what happens when you play a game. So it's very, very fine when you do that. Everybody who's watching, who's nervous about it, mistakes are cool. Yes, I rolled some 1s here. You can buy those if you'd like. You can spend a plot point, and you can, I guess you don't have any stress from last time, but you do have a complication I gave you, I believe.
Yes, but it was a scene-based one. It was with Penthesilea.
Right. Then never mind. You don't need to buy anything from me. You've got nothing you can spend it on. These are just sad little ones in my little 1 pile, but you can roll and see how well you do against 0.
Look, they're story dice. They're just saying. They're just saying.
Yes.
And I believe this is a performer.
I like it.
And guile.
Yes.
And my distinction is lead them into temptation. So I am well built for that. From my understanding, if I decrement my D8 to a D4, I get a plot point for that. And this seems like a statistically advantageous time to do that.
It does, absolutely.
Okay.
if it's working against you, though, that's the main reason you do that. Like, it's getting in your way as opposed to it's helping
you.
Or it's causing some kind of problem. So you can tell me, maybe it's not getting in your way, but there's an unexpected problem that is going to be caused by you leaning into this lead them into temptation idea.
That's actually perfect, because ultimately, after intelligence, I'm going to want to part ways. And if one goes too hard, then they don't want to do that. And it's very frustrating. 16.
I like it. 16. Just a casual 16, which is, let's see, I had a 0. So let's see, 5, 10, 15. That is a triple heroic success. Very casually. We will do a giveaway in chat for that, but as well, what was your effect die on that?
So let's see, that should be out of
Yes, you'll have your total,
yes.
And then if you have any other dice left over that don't have a 1, you can put that as your effect die, and that will be, how effective was this thing that you did?
Wait, any of them?
Yeah, so you've got the ones, the 2 that you use for your total, and then if you've, what do you have left in your pool that you rolled after taking your total?
After taking my total, I have the D4. So
okay, so you got a D4. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna step that up 3 times because you have a triple heroic success. So a D4 to a D6 to a D8 to a D10. So that's very, very successful. And I'm giving you an asset for that. So this is a temporary asset. And this is going to represent the intel that you're receiving, which is going to be specifically what kind of intel do you want represented by this asset?
Well, this is a guard. That means they've been around things. I've been trying to get specifically gossip. So I think the guard saw something that is going to be valuable for me to know.
Yeah, so the guard feeling, okay, this is actually like legit. And, you know, even if it's not like, I mean, they kind of want to look cool to you. So they lean in. Well, I don't know if it was anything, but when I was coming in for shift change, my bud who was on the earlier shift, they weren't here. So that was kind of weird. I thought, oh, maybe, you know, with the ceremony and everything, but then somebody came out, you know, of the chamber, and they weren't supposed. There was nobody supposed to be in there still. You know, it was supposed to be empty. And I mean, I couldn't find anything afterwards, but just seemed suspicious. It was one of those Hydra cultists. I didn't want to be suspicious. You know, they're our allies, but it was a little weird, and they seemed really kind of jumpy, honestly.
Which chamber was it?
This one.
Well,
yeah. All of you were out there, and it's one person. So, I mean, just if you've lost anything, you know, if anything's missing, just, you know, tell me. I'll take care of it for you.
You're really too kind.
Yeah. See, I get off, and as they begin to say that is when, just kind of like poking around the corner, Manoa, you're kind of approaching this chamber at this point. And kind of catches a little bit of attention, enough that kind of turns their head. They don't see you. You're being very like stealthy and secretive, but it is enough that like they were kind of leaning in towards you, Chris. But as they like turn their head, it's like the perfect opportunity if you would like to extract yourself from that.
Okay, so it's I'm the meat of the sandwich. Like it's they can see Manoa over my shoulder.
That's up to you. Are you inside of the athlete's chamber on that wall, or are you on the outside of the chamber?
I think I've started steering them to the outside of it because, one, they felt all uncomfortable, feeling like they were feeling watched. So, you know, you get them away. And two, I know I want to make a break from this.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. And
that
I will
said,
also give you that D10 guard intel. So that's an asset you can use in other roles. I'm going to let you use it one time, anytime this session. And once you've used it, it'll be gone.
All right. So I'd actually like to be the bun of the spy sandwich and get the over the shoulder with Manoa.
Yeah.
And mischief bro code this.
Okay.
I see the sneak across. So I'm going to try for the double plus hard and hold them long enough for her to make the cross and then try to disengage without the benefit of the distract.
Excellent. I like that. I'm going to say that this is going to be a roll from Latia and that you are helping. So which attribute are you going to give Latia?
Is that determined from what I am using to assist?
Exactly. Yes.
Then it's
so like
guile.
Guile. Perfect. So what size is that die?
Oh, mine is a D12.
Great. So D12 as a bonus die for you, Latia. And this is 2 D8s. And this card is, again, being distracted by Carissa, who is an ally, so not going to add in their Phoenix Guard die. I'm just going to roll those 2. Still got another 1, but I also got an 8, so it's not a full 0 this time. So go ahead, build me a dice pool.
All right. So do I add any attributes of my own when I'm being
Absolutely,
assisted?
yeah.
Okay.
You will still add all of your own stuff, but you just get a bonus. It's kind of like a little temporary asset for you.
Okay. See, I'm going with Scout for my role in this. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna use my own guile. Because we have just mischief bro coded this. And so I'm gonna go ahead and add in that. And then I'm still gonna use eidetic cartographer because I've been here,
Totally.
and I don't think I need it. I don't need any census for this, so I'll go ahead and roll.
Do it. Ooh. Well, all of you are rolling delightfully well. Hopefully, I'll pick it up. So we got a 17 with a D12 effect die.
Yes.
So that's also a heroic success. So that is just a single heroic success, if my math is correct. 8 to 13 to 18k up.
Mhm.
So we got a 17. Your D12, when you step up a D12, it kind of propagates a little extra D6. So it's like, boop, I got a D12, step it up. Oh, look, there's a D6. So that D12 this is how effective this is. And D6, you can build an asset from that.
Okay.
What kind of asset would you like to create through this action?
I want this guard's not gonna come in the direction that I've gone. Like this double team was so successful that Krisa is going to, whatever Krisa has done to help me is going to send this guard completely in the opposite direction. He's not even gonna. It was just a shadow.
So what I'm going to give you for that, so I'm going to call that D6, and that's going to be I belong here. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to get in this room and you're already in there. It's going to make it seem like, oh no, I'm supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that asset is. And you have that kind of for the rest of the scene here. So there you go. And yes, you do. As you come in, both of you make eye contact, and Chris, taking advantage of the way that this guard has become kind of infatuated and interested in this flirtatious relationship, is able to distract enough that without any notice, you slip into the room. Chris manages to guile their way out of this conversation, kind of letting the guard tries to hide their hurt by insisting that I should really focus back on. Yeah, we'll talk later. And we cut over to Fios. What are you doing in your first night as a Phoenix endarch in the Phoenix Temple?
So you said that there was a gathering in the athletes' chambers, or there wasn't? Is it just everyone off in their own rooms?
So it is just one shared chamber. There are dividers up kind of between different sections. Everybody's kind of sandwiched with their allies as well. They're trying not to be like, let's put enemies together. That's a good idea. They try to be really smart about how they placed people, but everybody's in the same chamber. So you can hear the snoring, you can hear the quiet chatter. People are being respectful even if they're still awake.
Okay. Well, I have the benefit of knowing that I can be anywhere. It's not, I don't have off limits places as far as I know. That could be wrong. But I have my favorite haunts, and they're not here. They're out. So I've let my sister know if she's around, or any one of the other Phoenix officials, that I'm going to go watch the walls. And that's just a thing that I do. I have that feeling that I have to watch things. I don't have a lot of time to sit and contemplate stuff. My brain process is one of like, I got to be watching things, got to be paying attention, and that's how I can kind of moderate, right?
Gotcha.
So my plan is to leave this place pretty early. Like, I mean, after we've had food and things, and people are starting to sort of retire, I'm heading out.
All right,
Churro
you
would
head out, you
follow.
go. Churro's going too. Cool. So it's the middle of the night. Fios, were you like totally in for Churro following you? What was that, interaction like? Let's do that. Like you cut off. Everybody's eaten. People are, being directed to go back to their chambers. You slip away. Churro, you follow. What happens next?
Do I know that Churro's following me? Is my first question.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I'm not stealthy, so you probably hear my feet flap on the ground as I like. I'm like, hey, Fios, and then as he like scampers up.
Churro,
you did a great performance today, man. It was you did awesome. I love everything about it. You look good, by the way. I wish our guy looked better, but oof, you guys got it going on.
Hector's doing his best. I know. I get that from him. Look, everyone else is getting down for the night to sleep and rest and recover. You don't need to come out here and worry about any of the stuff that I worry about. It's all fine.
All right, where are you going right now?
Oh, I just have a few places I like to go. It's kind of a, getting myself together, gathering my thoughts kind of thing. I mean, if you want to come look, I'm happy to show you.
Yeah. Before I saw you walk out, I was gonna hop the fence and find karaoke. So like, I'm down to
No,
come.
don't do that. No, that's not a good idea. I've already had people tell me that some of the singing bars are full. You shouldn't go there. There's, griffins and people like that.
There's griffins, and you don't want me to go, dude? I've dreamt about this my whole life. Like, can you lead me to them, please?
How about I show you where it is from the vantage point of where I'm going?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you know any karaoke places? How do you feel about karaoke?
And this interaction continues as Fios, you lead the way towards the walls, and the night gets darker. And even though, yes, there's still a lot of activity in the city because this is like a big party week, essentially, even though there's all of that happening, the farther out you get, the quieter it is. People really aren't straggling in anymore. They all wanted to be here for the opening ceremonies more than anything. So it is pretty quiet on the roads. Even the farms are quiet as people have left and come to the city for the events. It is quiet other than, of course, Churro's conversation kind of echoing through. But you get to the walls. What is the visual of this place from where you get up to?
Well, what I want to show Churro, and I'll say this as much, but not in quite so florid terms because I haven't got those for him. But if you look out over the walls from where we're going at, there's more up to the city that's not quite as bound. There's an outer wall, there's other things. But if you look out that way, you see for hundreds and hundreds of miles is just the glory that is Regnium's orchards and our farms and the lands that we look after, and you can see it, and it's all protected from at the very, very outermost area. There's the Warden Road, and that's where I normally am. And if you turn around and look this way, you can see inside Regnium, and look at this, look at that, all these people. This is not how it always is. This is busy, this is moving, this is different, and that may be exciting, but that to me over there, that's the real city.
And I'd like a roll from you here, Fios. As you look back over Regnium, yeah, there's a lot going on. But you are a watcher of these walls, and you're trained to see things that are maybe more suspicious. So even though there's all of this going on, I want to see if you can tell what is out of place.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, let's see. This is going to be 2d8s, but the GMC involved in this has a trait with a d10 that I'm going to add in here. So I've got 2d8s and a d10 that I'm going to roll as a test for you.
And is it a botch?
Oh my gosh. Usually, those of you who are new to Roll and Keep, usually I roll disastrously, evilly bad, like good, bad for the players. This is abnormal for me. I can't believe my rolling. But go ahead, Cam. Show me how it's done.
Well, Scout is the role that I am using because that's what we're talking about. That's my life. I think in this case it is a reason. Because it's just quiet. I'm not trying to do anything else necessarily that's crafty or deceiving or anything else like that. Keen-eyed Warden of the Borders applies as my distinction, and that's it. I don't have anything else to apply to that. So,
all right, give him a roll. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I got a hitch.
You did get a hitch.
But I got a 10.
Yeah, I'm going to, let's see, what do I want to give you here? I'm going to buy it. So, I mean, you're going to succeed here, but I'm going to buy that hitch. Oh, I want to give you. Do I want to get, Cam, tell me, should I give you a complication or stress? What are you feeling?
I think there's going to be a complication, and I don't know if it's necessarily a visual one. It might be an auditory one.
Okay, so as you look down out, you also got a D4 effect die here. 10 to 6, but with a D4 effect die. So this is kind of just scraping by. As you look down and you're explaining to Churro, and Churro, who is describing everything that is on Churro's mind, as you show this view, you catch movement in kind of a darkened alleyway. You only catch it because of, a lantern that somebody's holding in front of them. Just a brief look as they turn a corner, and you feel this moment of certainty that that's my sister. And you kind of watch, you try to follow the little bit of glow of light as they turn again, but you don't see them turn again. Instead, you see as a wall that is mostly blocked by buildings from where you stand, but you can just see the top of it, and you see the wall itself part. A hidden doorway.
It's
And the
not
light.
normally what walls do.
It's not, and the light goes out as it goes into this wall, and it closes, and you can no longer see the light or what you believed was your sister. And this D6 complication is going to just be this uncertainty about what you just saw, what it was, who it was. Well, it couldn't be like this seems weird. This seems out of place. And so it's just uncertainty. That's all it is. D6 uncertainty.
That's exactly what I need to have plaguing me right now is uncertainty. It's awesome.
And that's a story of how I threw up in the 3rd grade. And it was like, hey, you seem kind of distracted. What's going on?
Yeah. I'm really sorry to hear that your youth was so plagued by nausea. There's something down there. I think that we want to have a look at.
Oh yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. I'm good at
Uh,
sneaking. Like, I'm super quiet.
Can you fly?
I can breathe fire and I can shapeshift.
So no.
No.
Well, I'm going to go ahead, and if you want to climb down the main, there's some stairs there. It shouldn't take you long. I'll go ahead.
Oh,
You'll see me.
Are you sure? You want me to?
Oh no, I can't fly without being seen. Honestly, trust me, it's a thing. It's nighttime. Watch this. I'll take a step off the ledge,
Yep.
and the wings will come up.
And just this flaming wings, this fiery figure. People just in the city streets, even though they're far away, like see this. It's like seeing fireworks, right? Like it's like, whoa! People are really excited about seeing it, and just flying off as Churro. You're just kind of left standing there.
Bit, but I'm not used to this, right? I mean,
you had this the whole time.
At some point, this will be a little bit muted, but now it's like.
Yeah. So as you fly off in Churro, you're left standing up on this wall that you're really not supposed to be on. We cut back to hour 2 in the athletes' chambers. You have made it past. You're now both in this room. The guard is continuing their duties, looking out at the hall, being a guard of the athletes, not over the athletes. What are you two doing now?
I probably just kind of like walk up to Carissa and I'm like, thanks.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now, where are we going?
There's this like, I don't know, she's never had anybody to be mischievous with. So there's this like really small smile that creeps up on her face. She's like, well, I was really curious about the wall.
Clearly something going on there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I assume you know the way.
I do.
And you lead the way to the wall.
We're all but holding hands and skipping.
Like a sneaky version of that. And you easily make your way back to the wall because you are an eidetic cartographer. You get there, and for a moment you think that you must have made a mistake, but that doesn't seem possible because the wall is still there, but the drawing on it that was of the Decanthion that was slightly off. There was something that you couldn't place,
Mhm.
and there was that crack, and that crack's not there, and the Decanthion looks perfect now.
She stands in front of it and like her brow furrows and she tilts her head this way and that. And eventually she walks up to the wall and she like touches, like she reaches up for the crack and tries to feel it.
Yeah, you reach up, go to feel it, and last time you remember there was a crack, and when you put your hand near it, it burned, it hurt, it was so painful, but Chris's knife didn't get hot, so it was
Mhm.
very strange, but you put your hand there now, and it feels fine.
And I turn to look back at Frisa and I'm like, they couldn't fix a wall this fast with so many people here. Like, this is a carving. They couldn't recarve it.
So what they did wasn't fixing, and it wasn't carving. What was it?
What if it was an illusion?
What could we do with that?
And Minoa like actually like she leans against like one of the other walls and she actually like starts to ponder this, like give this some real thought.
And
Yeah,
Frisa
absolutely.
is mostly studying Minoa more than the crack itself. Having some context on this person is more interested in taking her measure and seeing what
Yeah.
she's like.
Absolutely. So as you observe, get an idea of Minoa, and Minoa, you are lost in thought. You lean back against this wall, and as you do, you realize that the walls off to the sides of this strange panel
Mhm.
are slightly set back from the other, so a couple of inches. But as you kind of lean and you think and you think, and Chris is watching you, and you're looking and thinking and looking and thinking and sensing, and then you turn just a little bit, and out of the corner of your eye you can see where that panel comes out 2 inches, and you can see the smallest, tiniest gap, just because of your, you're so used to stone and the way that these places are built, that is a panel placed on top of something. As much as they tried to disguise it as a part of the wall, it could be moved.
So she's, she's leaning, she's thinking, she's looking, like she catches Crease's eyes for a second, just as, as Crease's just like in the scan by of this corridor. And she looks towards the corner. And then she sits up. And Crease, help me move this.
Right.
So like dig our fingers in and try and pull it.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Who is sort of leading this action?
I think I might be, because if I've noticed it, I can kind of get a measure of which way it could be pulled.
Totally. So I'm going to go ahead and roll difficulty. And Sam, you can give your vigor. That is kind of your bodily power and all of that to Minoa to assist.
Lovely. Ideal.
What dice?
That's a D6.
All right. Hey, it's better than a D4.
All yours.
And I think I'm going to do, let's see, trying to decide if this is challenging or hard. It's pretty heavy. I think I'm going to go 2 D10s. I'm going to roll those up. Okay, there we go. A 10. I feel good about that roll finally. I got a 10 that you have to beat there, Latia.
Okay. So with that D6, I'm going to use, this is still Scout, so I'm going to start with that. courage, I think, or should it be vigor? Vigor also. Like vigor is kind of strength based, right?
Yeah, vigor is kind of your power. Yeah, that's the thing that you're using. You could like reason something like, oh, I could use reason in trying to do this in a way that's not just brute strength. But if you are just trying to like, let's move this thing.
No,
vigor.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. And to that end, I will be using Minotaur in a pottery shop.
Yes.
Minotaurs get a strong power too, right?
Yes, I have strength. So I can add that in too, right?
Yeah, and tell me what it looks like as you tap into this Eidolon's power. It kind of has that effect on your physical form. What does that look like?
So it's almost like the shadow of a minotaur like forms over Minoa. Like the headdress that she was wearing when she got here that she is not wearing now, like the horns are actually like they are a representation of what happens when this happens. So you actually see like horns kind of like sprout from her head, and then like her muscles like bulge a little bit, and like there is this like fierce kind of like snort that comes out from her as she like grabs the wall and begins to bodily move it.
And let me just ask, does also the shadow that you cast have this like appearance?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I like it. Sweet. All right, you gotta beat a 10.
I did.
It's gonna do it. 13 is gonna beat a 10 with a D8 effect die. So that's looking pretty good as you both together, a D8 that's kind of that above average result. It takes a lot of effort. It's also very hard to be really quiet moving a big slab of stone, but especially because of your incredible Minotaur strength, you're able to do pretty well, and you are moving this using all of that energy. And Krissa, as this moves, as this Minotaur energy takes over, you're observing still, you're still curious about this person that you've thought about so much. As this power goes in and as that shadow gets cast upon this stone that you're all moving from the torchlights off to the side, you see as it catches in these carvings of this decathlon, a decantheon. And inside of the carvings, because of the way the light and the shadows are hitting it, you notice the way that the light and the shadows aren't hitting the inside of the carving, and an inky blackness seems to bubble and push itself out of the carving and is slowly sort of inchworming itself towards where Minoa's hands are, where this energy is coming from as she lifts and pushes with you. What do you do?
There is the abstract instinct, seeing the Minotaur transformation and everything to unpack with that. I kind of just doesn't want to warn her.
Okay.
Like the person who is the endarch of the Minotaurs, I do not want to warn. I want to sabotage, but actually Minoa the person. Stars help me. I'm kind of liking.
So you're kind of, are you just stuck in that moment of indecision, or do you make a decision?
Yeah, no, I don't quite make a decision, and so in so doing, I'm going to do the dumb. I'm gonna step on like a piece of rock nearby to jump up over her and bap at it like a cat with my actual hand.
Okay, I like it. Action reaction is what we were at. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to build a roll. That's going to be an action against this thing. And then I'm going to roll as its reaction to that.
Okay. I don't even know what a bad idea macro looks like this. Like, what even is this?
Who knows? This
what is
creepy,
this made of?
inky, black, non-reflective material seems fine.
I mean,
just Vanta Black.
Oh gosh. Oh, that jerk. I think this is heaven help me. I think this is warrior courage for me, which
I
is
like it.
not ideal.
Yep, warrior and courage. Let's do it.
I don't know that there's really a distinction that applies.
So then looking at your distinctions, is there one that is specifically like, you're like, oh, this is not helping. Like this is, if I didn't have this distinction, this might be better.
No, because
Or
I'm consciously going against a typical trait. Normally, I
Right,
would
but
be a
you've got
cunning
your-
trapper. Instead, I am doing not that, which is why this role looks so terrible.
So I would say hinder your cunning trapper, because you're saying,
Yeah.
I'm not leaning into this distinction, and that's causing a problem for me. So you got that.
Oh,
hinder.
wow. This macro looks so sad.
for 6. Are you going to use any of your powers?
I don't think they apply, to be
Okay, well, there we
completely
go. We got
honest with you.
6.
I think that's just what this was going to be. This was never going to be.
Excellent. 6 and a
Wow.
hitch. I will buy that hitch from you.
Got a plot point though.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
You get a plot point, and then I'm going to make this a D6 complication that is going to be thinking.
I have so many plot points now.
Yeah, this complication is going to be this corrupting sting, is what I'm going to call it. Because even no matter what this reaction is, you are going to make contact with this. And you feel that burning sensation the same way that you did at the wall, but 10 times worse, maybe 100 times worse. And I'm going to roll for its reaction. So I just have, what did I have for this? It's a mob of Skotos corruption. And that is
Oh, it's got a name. That's great.
3d8s. Yes, and I'm
Love that
rolling
for us.
3d8s. A 13's definitely gonna work. And I got a hitch though, which you could spend. You could spend a plot point, step down that complication I just gave you from a 6 to a 4.
Yes.
Or you could step up the guard intel that I gave you from a 10 to a 12.
I think the complication feels very important right now.
Sure. So you can step that down, spend a plot point, and 13, that is a wonderful success, not a heroic success because I'm not a hero, but a very good success for the Skotos mob. And you reach and you do make contact, but it just, as you get there, it like falls down and then swallows around your fingers. And it burns and stings. And Manoa, you now see this as courtesy, you're able to pull your hand back and it is aching. You see almost this necrosis on your fingers, blue and black, that is just sticking to you. And you sort of get into sort of your endarchs power a little bit just to push this out with any magic you can muster. And it's still there, the tips of your fingers, especially underneath your nails, it is there, that D4, but you've managed to sort of fend it off as much as you can. And now sensing that magic and sensing the magic from Manoa, it is just bubbling up more and kind of pulling itself out of this and dribbling onto the floor. And from the corridor comes a thumping of a figure walking over, and you see the impressive stature of the Chimera champion, Hector. And he's just, I'm so sorry to bother you, but have any of you seen Churro? I thought he might be back here. And then he like stops looking at the scene in front of him, and we cut over to Churro, who is, are you still trying to follow Fios, I should ask, or are you doing something else?
I'm definitely trying to like see like, okay, I'm lost. And then he just kind of like tries to figure out a way to like find where he's going. And yeah.
How are you doing that? How are you trying to kind of get through this city?
He will if were we on like the wall or whatever?
Yeah, you were on the wall kind of outside the city, not like the wall of Regnium whole, because that would be much farther, but like kind of the wall of the city capital area and the farmlands within that city capital.
And then Fios went like further into the city. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he'll descend the wall then, and then just try to like, oh man, and just try his best to like run as fast as possible to head over and just see him in line of sight, because he's still illuminated, right?
Yeah, I'm giving you quite a good like.
Yeah,
trail?
the
Okay,
only
okay,
problem
cool.
is that when you get into the city proper, these Phoenix buildings, they're some of the oldest buildings. I mean, they're some of the most advanced, because again, Phoenix Novarks are immortal. And the power that they can learn how to wield when they never die, they never have to have new people learning how to use them anew. They can have some incredible advances. So you just see, as you get to the city and you look up trying to see Fios, oh gosh, there's a lot of tall buildings. You can't really see the sky. You can't really see that. And there's people setting off fireworks, and there's people with bonfires, and there's all this noise. It's really hard to just see one bright, fiery thing in a mass of fire. So what's your strategy here?
He will if he'll look around and his ADHD kicks in and he's like, and then he'll go to someone else and be like, do you know where there's a barbecue or a karaoke, or ideally both nearby? And then
like, this is fine. So you immediately kind of just start turning to people, trying to get some directions to some places. And of course, the first person that you go towards, you just see kind of a group of people. They're talking and laughing, seem to have a good time. Tap on the shoulder, and turning around, you see the annoyed looking face of Kofaya, the Hydra champion. And she turns, she's smiling, having a good time. As soon as she turns and sees you, her face just falls and is unimpressed. And you're not supposed to be out here.
You're like, what? Yeah, and I need some plot points because your boy is poor right now. So I'm gonna do a hinder for I bite my thumb at thee, and be like, well, you should find a pond because you're a silly goose. And then he'll be like, do you know any barbecue or karaoke places around here?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. So you're trying to both insult her but also get information from her.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like it's like an insult, but it's also kind of like more of a playful jab is the sense I'm getting.
Yeah, if someone claps at him, then he'll clap back. So he just like, absentmindedly said it as he's like looking around at everything, and probably touching things as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make this a contest because the stakes aren't that high. We're just gonna make this a test. This is gonna be, challenging because she doesn't like you. And I will just add one of her traits in here as well. What's her? I feel like this is going to be her reason, which is 6.
And this
I'll
is
go
when
ahead
you're
and
gonna
roll
get
these.
max. Yeah.
Maybe. Nope, 7. 7 is a reasonable kind of average. In fact, a 4 on an 8, a 3 on a 6. So go ahead and give me a roll.
Okay. And let's see here. I guess performer. Would that apply here?
Yeah, I'm looking like warrior skill. Yeah, I think you can use your performer here. You're trying to sort of put on a bit of a front, and you're also trying to seem charming. So yeah, there's a bit of a performance aspect here of hey, I can also joke back at you.
Okay.
And what's up?
Maybe Grace. And
love
maybe,
the total misread of the situation.
And then maybe shapeshift to make my eyebrows go higher, just yeah, exactly.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think that'll be good.
So then you need to get your distinction in there. You're hindering one, right?
Yes,
you're hindering that bite because you're start a fight, but not actually.
Yeah,
just kind of playful joshing.
All right, let me see what this comes out to. So a 9. Okay, good.
Okay, that's
with
a success
one hitch.
with a hitch. So let's go ahead.
Now you gotta tell me, are you gonna buy me a hitch? Because if you buy my hitch, I'll buy your hitch.
But yes, I'm gonna buy your hitch, and we're just gonna call this left an opening. So you're not on the balls of your feet ready for a fight. You're hey, I want to do something fun. So you say this very ridiculous thing to her, and then like asks for directions, and she blanches for a moment, which is this a trick? She kind of like looks as if she's expecting like you to have some backup here, noticing that you don't have Hector here, you don't have Fios, and she thinks for a moment. Yeah, okay. You know that athletes really aren't supposed to be out here, but yeah, I know a place. I've been here before, of course. We're allies.
And is she at a booth or anything?
No, this is like on the street.
On the street?
You know,
Okay.
it's like there's street vendors and stuff. She kind of like looks at the cultists that are with her and just kind of gives them like a bit of a nod, a hand signal. Follow me. And she begins to kind of move through the crowds, slinking very easily. Do you follow her?
Yeah, absolutely, without question. And
Great.
then you'd be like, oh God, thank you. I'm so hungry right now. Like, woof. And I can't even think straight when I'm hungry. So like I'm totally vulnerable as if just like walks and follows.
You didn't have to, and she just mildly replies to you as she kind of leads you, and you notice that the crowds get a bit thinner, a little bit less traffic in this area.
This kind of looks shady, but you know what? The best food is always in the shadiest areas. So like,
Exactly,
I am down.
It's a little known place, and they didn't want all of these crowds around. There are people who would leave such a mess. I mean, have you seen the Gorgons? And then she keeps leading you, and now it gets darker. There's no torches lit in this area. Still walking with her?
Yes, absolutely. He's kind of looking around at everything, being like, what kind of food is down here? Like, I am like so hungry.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hear what's on the menu. And she finally, like, you're kind of in this alley, and she turns around, is Chimera. And from like both sides of this alley, more of her cultists come, and you and her in the center. And the only thing that you see other than them, because it's so dark, you finally see that glint of light shining above you, not directly above you, shining above the city that you're pretty sure is Fios. And Fios, you are up above. You are trying to get to that hidden doorway that you saw potentially your sister at, making your way towards that. And as you kind of travel, you get a sense, you kind of hover over, not like hover, but you flap over that spot, and also then turn, just try to see if Churro is actually able to get through or get back, or if there's any trouble.
It's a direct path. If you just taken this thing and that road across,
It's like an elevator and escalator. Yeah.
There's a flying buttress. There's a balustrade.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you're looking, you actually catch sight of Kofaya. First, you see her; she breaks out of a crowd, and then you see Churro following.
Okay.
And then they go kind of down into some less trafficked areas, and just a few beats after Churro, you see Hydra cultists kind of splitting to different sides. And so you can see from where you are up above, you can see that hidden doorway that you want to investigate, and you can see these cultists following Churro. What do you do?
Yeah. Okay. Well, as much as I would love to go and find my sister and see what she's doing, I'm not so easily distracted from people as to just sort of forget my entire like security and sense of vulnerability, all that kind of thing. I'm gonna redirect. I'll turn, and then I'll sort of fly directly downwards. As I do, I will turn off the wings. So for the majority of the dive, I don't want to be on fire, right? And then I will just reactivate them at the very last minute so that I can sort of boom.
Yeah.
And right beforehand, I'll be like, whoa, Kofaya, you better watch out. These people look shady. And like,
It's flames. Fios is there in those not 100% correctly fitting Phoenix garbs with those sick pauldrons. And we cut back to Chrissy and Minoa with this glob of black corrupting poison, and Hector standing there trying to understand what's going on. Minoa, as you see this thing coming sort of towards you, Chrissy has just kind of pulled their hand back away from it. Seems to have the sizzling sound almost to that interaction. What do you do?
Well, I panic. No, a little bit. There's a lot moving through Manoa's mind right now. There is the realization that if Teresa hadn't done what they'd done, that could be Manoa, which is like internally, it's like, now I owe her. But it's not like it's not like a terrible thing to think for Manoa. That's not a bad thing. Like, she's always down to help people. Two, Teresa is injured. And three, what is this person doing here? Hector is a complication on his own.
Yeah, he sure is.
But we must, out of character, we must protect. So I think the first instinct is to get everybody away from the wall. Like, this thing is coming out of the wall, so she kind of like she interposes herself between the wall and Teresa, and then just starts backing everybody out. Like, Hector, we'll talk about this later. We need to move away from whatever this is.
Totally. Yeah. So you're kind of backing everybody away, kind of pushing back, towards that athlete's chamber. You now have this slab of stone that you've been able to move kind of halfway across the door before this happened. So now you can see that behind it, there is like an actual like stone door that one could literally just like grab the handle and open. So there is now a door through there, and you are now moving away. The blackness is still eking out of the carving, so just like slopping down, like, and then like kind of forming itself up and trying to like construct itself in some strange way as it just inches towards you all. And so you're interposing yourself as this thing finally kind of takes shape and takes form. It looks like just almost a shadow of you in this moment, but a three-dimensional dripping Icarus shadow. And it reaches for, like, pulls a fist back and then tries to bring it down to almost just strike your head directly. And so this is its reaction, and then you're gonna have a reaction to try and not take some horrible stress out of this. I didn't roll good again. Come on, dice. I got a 4. I got a hitch. You have the ability right now. You have the I belong here asset that you could step up if you wanted to by buying that. I don't think you have any complications right now.
I do not, but I will buy that.
Yeah.
Buy that to step up my I belong here.
So now you got a D8.
Yeah.
Build me a dice pool.
Okay. Interesting. Don't know what I'm gonna do here. I don't have to build in order, right? Because I know the first thing that I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna use my bronze skin.
Totally.
If this thing hits me, I don't want to be hurt about it.
Definitely.
Because it caught me off guard, I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna throw warrior in there because this is not what she does, but she's definitely, there's some warrior in her trying to get everybody out of here.
Yeah.
And to that point, I'm gonna throw courage in there.
I like it. And you got a distinction as well.
Yes, I think. What does Minotaur's Meadowlark do again?
Yeah, so that's just representing the fact that you are an endarch. So, I mean, anytime that you're using your powers or the fact that you're an endarch, that reputation matters. It's a really like fungible distinction.
Okay. I'm gonna throw it in there as, because I am an endarch and I am with other endarchs, and hoping that will do something. Good luck, me. Yay, I got a 12.
That absolutely is going to do it. That is, in fact, a heroic success level going to do it. So that steps up your effect die to a D10. Can remind me, action reaction. If it is against a mob, usually if you're going to take an action against it, you might be able to knock out one of those mob dice. Is that something you can do with reacting?
You have to spend a plot point in order to do that normally. That's the way that tends to work.
Gotcha. Okay, so I will say to you, Latia, if you wanted to spend a plot point, you could make this mob from a 3d8 to a 2d8 because your d10 will knock out a d8.
Not this time. I'm going to hold on to my last plot point.
Excellent. So this thing comes down with this inky black fist to strike you from above. Describe what happens.
So with the heroic success, I don't think it hits me at all.
Yeah.
So like you see this sheen appear over Manoa's skin, and just as it's about to come down, it's that movie moment where it's coming down and she's just stepping out of the way.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. And like she backs everybody at least to the open area of the corridor.
Yeah.
Where we can either, we can go left or right or try.
Totally. And it's so frustrated at you just moving. You realize this thing must have some kind of sentience because as it just misses, it's like the false maw that is like, that would be your mouth, just drips open, like gapes like a foot wide. You can see directly through it to the wall on the other side as it just, and it's this very like a wet, weird sound. And it just starts to lunge forth again. Krissa, would you like to do anything? As
this is like Ferngully, like the
yeah, it's
Hexus. Like Hexus, yeah. And like Hector is there, and like he seems like he's willing to fight, but he is looking at both of you like, what is going on? What is that thing?
I mean, Hector is an endarch, right? I'm not mistaken.
He is.
Just not a particularly good one.
He wants to be a vet, but he's a champion instead.
He has very fine qualities.
Yes,
that's what they're calling biceps these days.
He is looking for direction, so he is looking to both of you, especially Krissa, because Manoa is sort of blocking, and so he looks down to you. What is this thing? What should we do?
Don't touch it, but if you can, fight it. And Krissa's gonna slip around behind for an old flankengank because they felt this burning, and it was not unlike the burning that they had felt before. That didn't react to their knife. So they pull their knife and they're going to plunge and more than anything smear, unshaping them as much as stabbing.
Yeah, I like it.
Love it.
Sweet. So build a dice pool for your action. And as well, go ahead and add in, let's see, what is Hector's warrior? It's an 8. Give an extra 8 into that pool as Hector embodies his chimera's presence. You just kind of see as his beard just sort of like flares out a bit, and he just starts to like blow this fire, and he's kind of going down above Manoa's head so that it goes like directly down and doesn't hit you behind it. So it's an extra D8.
Thank you. All right. This is warrior, no way around it. Grace, because it is a step around positioning sort of strike, not power. It's cunning trapper, because this time I am trying to use my brain skull and the reasoning with the knife and so on. And then a little bit of a hot date from Hector.
Yeah. Oof. Ooh. Dose hitches. I will buy those. You get 1 plot point, and I get both those hitches. And I'm going to step up your corrupting sting, which I realize actually I should have made you throw into this dice pool, but it's fine. It's too late. I'm putting it up to a D8.
Well, shoot.
As you bring this knife down, and like it you're able to start doing what you're trying to do. We're going to see how well it works because of the reaction. But as you're bringing it down, little bits of this kind of fly off and strike your arms, your shoulder, a little bit on your cheek. and this sting almost seems to burrow under your skin, like it's there, and you can try to wipe it off as fast as you can, but any place you don't get to right away, it's like it's sinking down into your flesh. And I will go ahead.
Not my flesh.
Not your flesh. It's very good flesh. Oof.
Oh no.
Oof.
Respectfully, could you not?
So that is not going to be effective. So you're going to get, I believe action reaction is only when you are getting acted against, you're going to take stress. So you did, however, get those complications. You're at a D8 of this, but as you're sort of trying to carve it and break it apart, in this form, when it's just kind of gathered, it seems stronger than it was when it was, this thing behind the wall. It just reforms. You cut through it and bits of it slop onto the ground, and then it just kind of just comes back to it, stitches itself back together. It's the fire from behind that is just raising it. It's like catching it on fire like oil. So it's just now this flaming mass of black something. And I will then ask Manoa, as this thing is now, it's splitting itself almost. You see as the face that is like you is still coming towards you, and it's almost like the back of it, the neck kind of splits, and one head splits off and starts to lumber towards you, pulling out of this ichor, while the other half, another neck and head split and looks like Chrysa coming towards them. Manoa, what do you do?
I think I tell everybody to run.
You say run, and we cut back to Churro and Fios. Fios, you have just dropped down. These Hydra cultists have been moving in. Churro, you think this is totally fine. And then you have, of course, Kafaya, who was seeming very confident a moment ago. And as Fios drops down in between you both, her face just flashes a little bit. Fios, I'm going to throw this to you because Churro, DeAngelo, you mentioned how Churro was just like, hey, watch out for these people.
Hey,
So I'm gonna throw this
I
first
think
to
I'm on a
Fios.
date, and there's like,
So Fios, what do when you drop down here between Churro and Kafaya?
Yeah, so like the wings come up again, and they go all light up just about say 6 inches above the ground, so that I'm arrested before I hit the ground. Yeah. So I'm kind of just floating there, kind of angel-like, right? Kind of this sort of weird phoenix thing, and I'm letting it start to build around my head a bit, and I get that kind of the rooster comb thing coming out from behind me, like it's like a mohawk, kind of does this.
Yeah.
And I'll just say quite simply to Kafaya, who I know everyone else can hear me, but I'll say, I hope you're not starting an incident.
I think it's just a misunderstanding, actually. No incident here.
Mm-hmm. I was just taking my friend Churro somewhere, but he seemed to have lost his way and found his way to you. That's nice, but I think we are going to be on our way, and we can maybe meet again later.
Of course, yes. I was just leading him back. Side streets, get away from the crowds a bit.
Very considerate of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Look, Fios, we should talk a little later. I'm sorry for how I acted earlier, I should say. I was expecting someone else, not a new face. So I was maybe a little testy.
Yep. he's not much for words. Okay, it's about it. He's like, and then I'll look between like the other cultists, sort of like, okay, now is your time to back off kind of look.
And she sees that look and also just kind of turns and gives another little hand signal, little like kind of disguised in like affixing her hair, but it's not disguised for you. Maybe it is for Churro. Hard to say. And they do kind of they sort of they back off. Some of them just kind of like lean against walls, like we weren't doing anything. And others just kind of like disappear down back into the city. She's so where was it that you were taking Churro. I mean, maybe I would like to see too. What do you think, Churro? Should we all go?
Ooh, what Fios? Is this like a personal thing? Because like you're my homie, and I don't want to like add too much of a party. So like,
yeah, it's getting late.
That's true. We do have a match in the morning.
That's true. All right, I'm gonna head out with Fios. I'm pretty sure like we're best friends, right?
Just not responding.
That's a yes. You see that little twitch on the corner of the mouth? That's
It's that look that I'm not actually looking at him, but talking to him, I'm still looking at Kafaya. Like she's going to be in the center of my attention, and any of her people.
And it'll just be like, well, I'm sorry our date didn't go well. Like you can admit that you didn't know where the barbecue place was, because like that's it's fine. People have gotten like shy around me.
Churro.
Yeah.
And maybe I got turned around.
Everything here. It's not different to be barbecued.
Oh, all right. Well,
have fun with your adventure. Maybe you can tell me about it later. And she just sort of brushes in between you both, kind of like brushing both your shoulders and going back.
I've landed now,
Yeah. And then she seems to walk off, leaving the two of you in this alley.
So
what were you doing?
I'm pretty sure she was waiting for me, like those schoolgirl crushes. Like she followed me,
waiting for you like a bandit waits for you on the road to ambush you. Did you see all the people she had with her? She's bad news.
Maybe
you're right. I don't know her personally, but I know Hydra. I mean, we've known each other for a long, long time.
I don't want to generalize people, but like it was kind of weird a little bit. All right. Do you know any? I am like craving cornbread right now. Like, do you know of any like food places around?
One of the things you can do when you're here as a guest is you can ask someone to bring things to you, and you don't have to go and get them yourself and get lost and accosted by Hydra cultists in the streets by yourself. I'm just saying. I've lost my sister. That's fine. We don't have to go looking after her. I've got to talk to her
you lost
later,
your sister? No, let's do that. That's a good plan. Let's do that. Where do we look?
No,
point me in the right direction.
No, it's done. It's all over.
But it's your sister. Like is she in danger? Wait,
I don't think so. I'm gonna have to find a different way of finding out what's going on. But you're welcome.
I don't think I was in danger. It feels like a coincidence that they were just like here at the same time when we entered this dark alleyway. But like I appreciate the effort though. It really means a lot to me that if you thought I was in danger, you showed up. Like that means I've got your back. So are you sure you don't want us to like go and find your sister? Because like I don't mind at all.
I don't think I can remember where it was anyway. No, I had a good line of sight before, but now who knows?
Yeah, you sort of lose your place. And hey, there is a match tomorrow, and Fios, especially, you're expected to perform as the Phoenix in front of a crowd for definitely the first time. But as you make your way out of this alley, start making your way back towards the temple itself. You do. Let me see, Cam. What location or what city state rather in this world that you've created would be the ones that would have the most like corn and wheat crops?
Corn and wheat crops. More agricultural one, I think.
Actually, isn't Connemara agriculture? I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. I'm gonna say that there are some chimera traveling bakers who have brought some of their wares. They're trying to sell them, trying to get some attention. And so as you're walking back, you hear calls of Connemara and cornbread.
Have you ever had chimera barbecue? Because you need to have some C-bar BBQ. It's super good.
I mean, it is because they blow fire. They make a whole thing. There are endarchs who have just become world-class chefs, and you are able to go and you're having a great time.
I mean, I'm trying to explain to her that we've never had them here before, right? Like just no one's been allowed.
It's like cornbread over here.
Yeah. Let me come on over. The least I can do.
y'all get your corn, but you also see that they're doing some barbecue of just like this gout of flame as they cook, and that gout of flame brings us back, transitions us back to 3 people running in fear for their life down this corridor. So Manoa, you're the one that yelled run. Hector looks a little like, wait, is that what we're actually doing? But then he was right off, and he's very tall, long legs. He easily kind of gets to the front of the pack, and I mean, he's not like you. He doesn't really know where he's going, so he just turns down a corridor, and in an instant that is not the way back.
Oh.
When you and Krissa get to that same fork in the path with this lumbering pile of black slop coming behind you, what do you do?
I think Hector is the innocent in this whole thing. So, wherever he goes as a champion, I know that guards will find him and bring him back. So in Manoa's opinion, he is safe. Manoa and Krisa, however, where can I lead this thing? I'm gonna lead it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, my first thought was to go back to Demetra, but I'm not going back to Demetra because then that puts Demetra in danger. But I've walked around this place an awful lot. So I'm going to lead it somewhere where somebody else can take care of it.
Yeah.
We have a built-in excuse for going anywhere we want because we're fleeing.
Exactly.
Excellent. You start just, you pick a quarter, you kind of channel your senses for a moment just to make sure it's not going to be a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to go, and this thing does it seems to be following you. What are both of your scout dice for me?
D10.
Oh, sweet.
D6.
Okay, so Krista, as you're kind of following Manoa, who is using those Minotaurian senses to determine which paths are good or not good, you just notice as you kind of get to a part where you're going to kind of make a hard turn and no longer be able to see this thing for a moment. As it reaches that same fork, it's much slower than you. It is literally just a pile of goop. It reaches that same place and it splits apart. And one piece of it starts to kind of go down the way that Hector went.
No!
Most of it continues to slurp after the two of you. And you run. You run and you get a sense, Manoa, of there's a path. And this path, okay, this seems like the right one. It's going to be a bit of an exit. It's going to give us to some tunnels, maybe some way to trap this thing, maybe, or just lead it away. But when you just get to a wall. Again, a wall. But this one's not weird in the way that the other one was weird. This just seems like a wall, and with your senses, knowing that there's a tunnel behind it, you know that this is a secret door of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do as the two of you hear a slurping slowly echoing behind you, and you're at this seemingly dead end, but which you know is not? What do you do?
Manoa knows when she was sequestered in training before she got the hang of her own temples, labyrinths, is that there are secret doors built into them so that, people like Demetra and other people can come and get people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to inspect this thing is slow, but we know we don't have a lot of time, but she's going to inspect the wall and figure out how to open the door. And she's going to communicate this also to Krisa, who hopefully can help.
Okay. And Sam, what is Krisa doing as this thing, you're kind of at the end of a sort of long corridor, I'm going to say 40, 50 feet. And this thing kind of comes and slurps around the corner. And in the same moment that Manoa tells you this, so Manoa's looking for this thing is slurping towards you. What do you do?
Feeling frustratingly protective of Manoa, this truly vexes me. I'm spinning around, extending claws and screeching to intimidate it. Get back. It's animal. Just
I like it.
Mine.
So I'm going to have you roll first, and then we will do Manoa's door stuff after. So do your action against this slop.
All right. This feels like warrior guile of all things to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Siren, Karakark, and Scream.
Yes.
And so how ought I, if applicable, put in that D8 of nasty corruption?
Yes. So that's going to be working against you. So when it's a D4, you'll end up throwing it in your own pool because a D4 is more likely to get
it's
a 1.
D8 now.
But it's a
because of
D8
that
now,
hit you
so
bought off
I'm
me.
going to roll it
Oh,
in
okay,
my
gotcha.
pool against you.
Cool,
However, I mean, you do still have this guard intel. If you can tell me how it could apply to this situation, you could throw that in. But otherwise, that would be your pool.
I have a sense of the role where I hope to apply that. So we'll hang for now with 6, 12, 8.
And you can, if you would like to, spend plot points in order to move dice that aren't in your total into your total. So you could take that extra 2. It's not great, but it will put you up to a 9 for a plot point. It looks like you've got 5 of those. So
yeah, plot points haven't been the problem. Sure. Yeah.
At least up to a 9.
At least.
So sad when the 12 rolls a 3.
It is.
Hey, it's better than a 1.
This is the thing with a larger die and the linear distribution across die faces.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you got a 9. I'm going to roll. I got 3d8s for this. Oh, I forgot. I got to add in 1 sec. I have to roll this.
Thank you.
It might not be this good because I forgot I have to also add in your complications. So I got 4 d8s.
Oh, man.
And I didn't. And here's the thing. I have plot points too. I have enough plot points to equal the number of players. I have 4 of them. But if I add this, I get a 9. I don't beat your total, and you have to beat it to eat it in Cortex. So I cannot beat it. So this is also, I rolled a hit. You said you wanted to buy it. Go ahead. You'll be able to step down that corrupting sting to a D6 if you would like.
Yes, that is exactly what I would like.
Excellent. And I got a 7. You had a 9 with that D8 effect. So you're going to go ahead and be able to step down one of these dice. So it now has 2 D8s and 1 D6 in this pool because this scream does work. It does something. Can you describe that to me?
There is, if the siren's song traditionally is everything alluring, everything intended to draw toward, a screech is the opposite, to push, to inspire fear. So the magic of an endarch is that regardless of the precise nature of that sentient, a screech will find something visceral in them that can feel fear, and if not, create it.
Absolutely. I love it. And it does. It just kind of vibrates through like the cells of this thing. And you can see this form, like it looks like you, and it's opening its mouth like it's also going to scream, but it can just make like wet sounds. And as it tries to do that, you see as like the jaw just kind of falls to the floor, and it kind of loses shape. It's not really able to mimic you anymore. It's just a mysterious pile of something. But the scream is heard outside of this hallway. It is heard throughout the complex. It is heard by Churro and Fios, who are just arriving back. It is heard by everybody in that athlete's chamber. And everybody goes to attention. Nobody runs to do something, but everybody's kind of looking at each other like, is everything okay? Fios and Churro, what do you do when you hear that horrible scream?
Oh, looks like it's showtime. And then he does canonically have a box that he brought for Hector to like give him food or whatever. And then he just like runs in and tries to find the source of the sound.
Excellent. So yeah, you've got that box. You see Hector's not there. You drop that box of food off and you go running in. Fios, do you?
Yeah, I'm always the last one to the party. So Churro's probably headed off before I even get a chance to even think. And then I got, So I make my excuses to whoever I was about to have a conversation with, because I just got back there and I'm like, hi, how's it going? Everything fine? Oh, I'm sorry, did I wake you up? And then all the screaming, and then like Shura running off. So I'll follow him.
Yeah.
So I believe that's probably the most likely place of immediate crisis is wherever
Totally.
Shura is, based on this evening's events.
Yeah, and it's that bystander effect of they see a couple people are willing to take action. All right, okay, we will too. So more of the endarchs in this room get up and they start to follow as well. But before that can happen, Manoa, let's do your role in trying to find the way to open this secret door. I'm going to roll 2d8s. It's challenging, but the door itself is going to have, a d10 for its, mysterious. Also, just the effect of this thing coming behind you that is very frightening. So I got a 14, which you have to try and overcome.
Yes, I do.
How are you doing this?
I am using priest because temple knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm using reason because temple knowledge. It's trying. Well, actually, okay. So here. No, I think reason is still the right one here because it's pressure under fire.
Absolutely. It's also you're trying to like solve the way that this door works and compare it to things that you're more familiar with and find the right answer. Totally reason. I love it.
And to that end, Minotaur's Meadowlark and my senses.
Yes. You are attuned to doors and pathways in stone.
Yes.
Oh, just got a 15 to my fort. Amazing. And that D10 of tasty. So you are doing this. Chris's scream goes out, and there's something about that. Like, yes, it hurts, but as you are focusing your senses, it's almost like these powers are combining in some way, and it's highlighting in this door the mechanisms that make it like be locked and be hidden. And those vibrations help you understand it that much more, and you start to see the whole picture of how to get this open.
Open the door. Stop having it be closed.
Yes, and you do. The door opens, and you and Krissa are there. Do you go in?
That is the question. Because as I get the door open and I turn around to say, hey, Krissa, I've gotten the door open. I see what their scream has done to this goopy, weird thing. And I'm going to hold off because it was so loud. I know people are coming. And I'm just going to put the knowledge of this door and how to open it in my back pocket.
Cool. So you're not like you either like open it a bit and then close it, or like open it all the way and close it. Like, is it closed now?
Actually, I'm going to Frisa, as you have finished screaming and I've turned around and I do say I got the door open. What would you do?
Frisa throws their head toward the door, like go through.
Mm-hmm.
Their thought being, a screech was heard. Localizing it will be difficult. For all we know, it ends up saving Hector.
True, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I will step through. Carissa, are you coming with me?
Carissa, I think, is going to make one more intimidating push to make more space for both of us through and get the shut.
Totally. I think that's just easy enough to do. You already kind of have the like frequency of this thing that you need. And so it's easier to just kind of maintain that and kind of keep it. It doesn't seem able to keep moving forward because every time it lifts one of its goopy limbs, that screech just makes it shake and it just falls apart. So it's like stuck where it is. So you've stuck it and you manage to get through the door. It closes. You both turn and see that you are in a dark, unlit corridor. Older stone than the rest of this place. And though you can't see much of anything, you can sense that the path forward descends. Meanwhile, Shuro and Fios trying to locate the sound of the scream. More endarchs locating. Guards are pouring in. The two other Novarks begin to arrive. Your sister arrives, and as well, coming onto the scene, we have Demetra, who is in this like nightgown and like looks very, but also is like panicking. She's like, no, has anybody seen it? She starts describing Manoa, and she seems so panicked, and there's just all of this terror that is going on, and you can hear it, and it's distracting. But something in you, and it's hard to call it anything other than this, wedge of fate pulls Churro down a corridor, down another one, and to this thing, moving towards what looks just to be a wall, plastering itself onto it. Fios, you come up behind. Other people have gone some different directions. Some are following you. And as it senses your presence, it turns, the kind of jaw just like slinging around, slapping this ichorous goop everywhere. Shura, what do you do?
And I see this creature.
You do. It turns to face you. And as it does, as it makes eye contact with you, it begins to almost look like you. Like you see that pompadour hairstyle coming into place.
Good choice.
And it's trying to form itself and start to move in your direction.
Oh, perfect. And is Fios within range?
He's just behind you.
Okay, perfect. I'd be like, oh, I've got to pee. Like, we've got to take care of this fast. And he just like is like, caw, and then he'll just like jump into the fray and do fire breath into.
Okay, so you
actually
action.
Actually, I already said it, but after the fire comes out of his mouth, he'll look around and see if there's anything flammable. Like, oh, am I gonna turn this? Like, I'm gonna set this place on fire.
I mean, it's a stone passageway.
Okay, that's good.
Lit by torches, and then like this thing. However, you do see parts of it are already on fire.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks flammable, which is actually really a good thing.
It was here when I got here. Yeah.
So
Okay.
build me a dice pool.
All right, we're definitely gonna do warrior.
Yeah.
We're gonna do vigor. We're gonna do. I guess I could do strong-armed grappler maybe, as I try to grapple it.
You want to grab this thing?
I guess I have no knowledge of it. I can like
no, you
literally
don't.
burn my flesh. Yeah. So he'll try to German
Do
suplex it.
Try to just like, and it comes to meet you with it, right? Like it's mirroring you in the most horrific way.
Yep, just like.
But you get right up there and like blowing fire at it. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I think I got everything, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll.
Ooh, that is very good.
Wow.
I only have 2d8s left in this, and that you left an opening thing. That was for that scene with Kafaya, which did not turn into a fight. So you don't have that complication anymore. It's not relevant. I just have 2d8s that I have to try and beat a 15 with. Good luck, me.
But you get it. Oh.
Yeah.
Did you?
No, I got a 3.
Okay, so you got a 3. Okay,
and a hitch. If you would like to, I mean, I guess you don't have any complications or stress. You don't have any temporary assets, so it's just a very successful thing. 3 to 15, that is going to be a double heroic success. So giveaway in the chat, and also that effect die up to a D12. If you want to, do you have plot points right now?
I have 2. Yeah.
So you could spend 1 and add that other D8 you have left into your effect as well, which is going to let you, with your D12 that has just been stepped up, you will knock out a die. I had a D6 apparently, whatever. I'm just to say I didn't. And with the other one, you can step down the other remaining die. So you'll put it down to only a single D6 left for this creature.
Yeah.
I think I'll do
Basically,
that. Yeah.
You keep 2 effect dice as opposed to 1 effect.
Exactly. So you have a D12 and a D8. You spend a plot point, just 1. And you get this thing down to a single D6 of what it has left. And it tries to do, like, it's as you come over to it, it is grabbed your fist in return. You feel a sting, but with your chimera's power, you push away from it, you start to kind of just shape shift your skin, and it just sort of waves and slaws off of you as you kind of like give yourself scales to just push that away. And you breathe fire directly into its face, and that face begins to just melt and fall down into the rest of its body. And you keep on blowing that fire, and it is so weak that it just crumbles into this tiny little puddle, and it tries to scooch away towards a crack. What do you do?
He will look over to Fios and be like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" And then we'll just and then
Yeah, I saw that. So burning things makes it go dead. Looks like.
I that or German suplexes, whichever, I guess whatever the cool it is.
Well, the good news is, for both our sakes, we are both fire-breathing endarchs, and so I will try and finish it off with my flame.
Yeah, excellent. This is just a D6. I'm not going to have you roll against it. I would just like you to tell me, Churo's really proud and like pointing at this little like worm-sized thing that is like moving away. How do you do this?
When I use my fire breath, my face extends outwards and makes a beak.
Yeah.
Right? It opens up and just opens up beak-like, and just fire comes out of it, which looks really freaking weird. And my eyes go on fire, and my hair goes back on fire, and so I would just burn it. I want to just cook it right where it is until it just there's nothing left.
Excellent. And that's exactly what you do. You use this power, and as you are doing this, that is when more people arrive. There is a Novarch. There are some other endarchs here, and they all look and they see this Phoenix endarch managing to destroy whatever this thing was, and they're in awe of seeing your power in use. And they don't think that Churo has done all of this stuff, just like Hector is the champion.
I definitely add to it. I'm like, "Caw, caw." Like, Fios,
It's
everyone.
amazing. Fios, you finish this thing off. The rest of the night is tense, spent in discussion. There are several people that seem to be missing, but the games must go on, so guards are sent to search. And in the morning, it will be time for a competition, one way or another, and whether you are exhausted or not. And two of those missing people behind this wall, in this tunnel that leads downward. Did you go down? Oh, I think you're muted.
Harbor mute.
Thank you. I think camera cuts back to us still standing at the top of the stairs, like viewing from behind us leading downward. And I look at Krisa and I say, you're a champion. You've got to fight in the morning.
I might lose. You're a champion.
I'm not fighting.
Lydia, tell me what it is they teach us about navigating the labyrinth, like a hand on the left side or something, some sort of distinctive. We were taught how to navigate in like a classically trained Minotaur cultist manner.
Yes.
What is that thing? Because that I think is what Krisa does as a response.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with it being a hand on the left. Like we're standing side by side, and then you move either in front of or behind me, and you put your hand on the wall, and I'm like.
And it's dark too, so you can't quite see each other, and you both do that motion at like the same time.
Yeah, like I feel Krisa move, and like, we're the Minotaurs are connected to stone, so like even through this wall, I can feel Krisa's hand, and I'm like. We'll talk later.
As the two of you descend and the rest of the endarchs figure out what is going on, worry about themselves maybe, or just we feel thankful because, hey, some of the people that are missing are other champions. The night goes on and day comes. This took more time than you really conceived, and you hear the horn indicating that the athletes are now to make their way to the Coliseum, and so people do. And one of the organizers approaches you, Churro. Are you prepared to fight?
And then when he comes over to me, I'll be like, I didn't do it. And then just be like, oh, yeah, like always, I'm down. What isn't Hector supposed to?
Unfortunately, we're unsure where Hector has gone. We are searching for him, but this is why they bring seconds, and that is you. So if you're ready to fight, we will escort you.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Sometimes he has stomach problems, IBS, so like I'm sure it's just that situation, but I am down to represent my people, and let's do this. Let's go ahead and do it.
No, yes.
Right. And so they lead the athletes out, and you notice, Tara, as you're leaving, that box of food that you brought for Hector is just still sitting on his bed. But can't worry about that now. It's your big break. But you get to be the champion. And he's probably fine, like you said, probably just IBS. And you are brought to the Coliseum. This has been made specifically for this event. A lot of work went into this. They got assistance from some of the other city-states, even ones that they're not typically allied with, were willing to come and assist. Minotaur, Gorgon, and you all arrive. You each have your own entrance along, but beforehand you're all gathered for just a bit of a rousing speech that everybody's going to do fantastically, and everybody is offered to share in a drink from a ancient important heirloom of a cup. So it's this kind of wide bowl of a cup, and it is filled with this incredible wine. Regnium is known for its orchards, and so everybody begins to drink. When it gets to you, Fios, do you take of the drink?
Yep.
All right. And Churro, when it gets to you, do you take of the drink?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wait to Fios and Kofaya as well.
Excellent. I'm going to need both of you to end up rolling this. I'm going to roll a difficulty. I'm just going to use it for both of you in the interest of time. And this is going to be, specifically the attribute I need you to use here is going to be vitality. As you take of this drink, and as it settles in your stomach, it feels, maybe it's not sitting quite right. It's hard to tell. I mean, it could just be nerves. And this is going to be 2d8s that I'm going to roll, and I'm not going to roll really poorly. All right, it's an 11.
Was that vigor you meant?
Vigor, yes.
Yep.
I think I said vitality. Whoops, whatever. They are synonyms. So both of you end up rolling. Let's just have Fios roll first, and build me that pool.
I'm going to roll priest and vigor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming Phoenix is Novak because in general, it's the thing.
Absolutely.
Can I add in? Well, no. Well, can I add my immortality in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
He says without really using it for anything else.
Perfect time to use it, if you ask me. Ooh, a 12 to my 11. Excellent.
So
this is
what I got.
great. Well, that is a success.
I can't make it any better by adding the 2, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah. So yeah, that just it settles in, and it feels strange for a moment, like just really like bubbly but then you're like, it's just nerves, okay, and you relax yourself, and it just seems to settle, seems fine. DeAngelo.
All right. So I'm gonna do warrior as he stands tall and proud and takes the drink while flexing. And then he's gonna do vigor as you said, and then he'll do Chimera's Mutark.
Yep.
Because he's the champion currently. And I don't think fear, fire breath, or shapeshifting would come into play here. So we'll go ahead and roll. And 13. Okay, good.
Oh,
Yeah.
you both did it. I am so
Oh.
impressed. Okay.
Can we
And
fist bump as
also,
well?
that settles. I mean, hey, it's alcohol. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe it was just, oh gosh, this is really strong wine. Okay, it's getting a little bit to your head, but it feels fine. Everybody relaxes. That's taken away. You're all set to enter. They announce each, and you're each able to come out to celebration from those that have come to watch you perform. And in this case, this is just going to be, a performance. This is just going to be, hey, look at the thing that I can do better than anybody else. Specifically, you're going to summon your eidolon, and you are going to use that to kind of do this incredible display. And it goes through one after another as everybody kind of tries at the same time to summon their eidolon. And DeAngelo, I need you to tell me, so when you summon this, it kind of like comes out of like the nature and the things that are built around here. And it's not like just a straight chimera shows up. It's like it's built out of something that is around here. And they have covered this Colosseum in sort of they've terraformed it completely to have all of these different options. The chimera, when you bring that out, what do you build it out of, and what does it look like?
Like physically or out of structures or anything like that?
So you get to, it's this massive kaiju sized thing that you're going to bring in.
Yeah.
And it pulls itself sort of out of like the nature that's here, or even the structures that are around. There's columns and stuff. How do you imagine this coming? If there's the ability to have trees and water and bushes and rocks and maybe even fire,
Yeah.
and there's tons of stuff here to use.
I think it would be stone and fire, I think would be the main ones, as it's just like a stone and dirt, and then in the shape of like this like beast, and then fire comes out of its like jaw and everything.
So you channel that energy. You can no longer use those powers yourself because you're channeling it into this thing, but it comes out, it's incredible. It's huge. It dwarfs the Colosseum almost, and just kind of prowls up, almost kind of walking on air as it kind of goes up to the top of the Colosseum. Fio, same thing for the Phoenix.
Yeah. In my case, pulling together, a whole lot of foliage and wood and everything else that sort of forms a huge kind of like a wicker bird in the shape of the Phoenix, and then sets it all on fire instantly with fire pulling it into it. So it kind of partially burns, but also it doesn't entirely, right?
I love that, like a wicker man, but a bird, and it's like burning itself. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, that comes in. These two eidolons, these massive eidolons that are now circling ahead, and every other endarch is trying to summon something and failing.
Oh no.
And that is where we're going to end today's session.
Whoops.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for playing. We will be back next week for the finale of this show. So I hope that you come and tune in for that and see what awaits in the depths of Regnium and what is happening with these endarchs out here in the Colosseum. I am so excited to see where this goes. The drum is great. If you want to try this game yourself, you can find it in the Cortex Prime Game Handbook right now. It's one of the 3 settings that you can try. Check it out. I mean, I obviously love it. Look at that beautiful book that Cam has right there. And if you want to see more of these wonderful people, because you should, because they're amazing, let's find out where you can find them. Sam, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, goodness. Well, if you make your perception check, you can find me throughout the Twitchernet, my schedule for which is on my About page at twitch.tv/Delevely, DELEVELY. My one-offs and special interviews and so on are going to be announced on my Twitter at Tchaikovsky, ChaiKovsky.
Excellent. Latia.
Hit me. You can find me all across the internet at Latia Jaquise. Sam, it's happening. All right, I'll go real slow. LATIAJACQUISE. That's E. Yay. That's where you can find me. I'm on Rivals on Sundays from 10 a.m. Pacific to noon Central. Please adjust your time zones thusly. I've got nothing else going on. I'm the community relations coordinator for Monica Games. We've got a Kickstarter going on that ends tomorrow night. So if you like planar exploration in 5th edition or Cypher system, if that's your cup of tea, check it out. You know, you don't have to pick everything right away. Give us $1. We'll help you figure out what you want. Other than that, I'm going to be at PAX. So if you're going to be at PAX, come say hi and we'll high five, depending on, you know, our level of friendship. We'll high five anyway.
Five or elbow.
Yeah.
Excellent. DeAngelo.
Hey everyone, my name is DeAngelo Murillo. You can find me on all social medias at _DeAngelo. I do a lot of tabletop RPG stuff. This Saturday is a double whammy as I have Phoenix by Night, which is a Vampire the Masquerade show that's on my channel with that _DeAngelo. And then like literally 30 minutes right after that is on D&D Beyond. I'll be dungeon mastering for Jasper's Day event, which will be really, really fun. If you watch the D&D Beyond videos, like commercials, there's this character called Sitar, and I've crafted the entire adventure about Sitar. So it'll be super, super good.
Oh, Joe Star must be so happy.
I know, they're like, yes. So it's like super good. Yeah.
Fantastic. Cam Banks.
Yes, you can find me at Boy Monster on Twitter, and I will also be found anytime you want at the Discord. Well, not anytime you want. I will sometimes be appearing on the Discord for Cortex RPG. You can find me there. I also occasionally post fun and useless things on Instagram at Rusty Sellsword. So yeah, anywhere you want to find me, you can probably find me.
Excellent. And I am Melly D. Set. You can catch me on Twitter at MellyDM. And of course, also on the Cortex Discord. You can come and hang out with us there. We'd love to have you. And until then, and until next week when we play again, farewell, everyone. Take care.